What's going on, everybody? Blue here at Blue Bears Games, and as promised, I am going to be doing the second part of the Obscura Operation precon from Wizards of the Coast today. This is going to be the upgraded guide for the deck. I do want to mention that I stated something about Tivit being a better option here, but I actually think I'm going to go with the original Commander Kamiz, or Camis, however you say it, as the option for the upgrade guide, just because there is a way to run this a little more efficiently. I mentioned in the video, if you haven't seen the actual unboxing video, that I wanted to go in the direction of an unblockable deck akin to the precon that I make, that was an unblockable commander for the fugitive. I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but I'll show you what I did. This is going to be a little bit more upgraded as far as it has 3 colors, so it has better options. So I'll go over that with you right now. So as always, I start with the land upgrades, and for this one, it's not a lot, it's mostly mana fixing. So you're looking at, they already put the budget tri-land in there, so let's look at Rathne's Tower as it's the upgraded tri-land, because it has the land types. And then of course you've got the shock lands, and I put up their Watery Grave, and then I put up the check land for Drowned Catacomb, but you're going to look at all the color options for that. You may also want to look at the filter lands. They already included one in the precon, so that was a nice step for everybody. Then for some utility, there's not much there as far as using unblockable. They already put Rogue's Passage in, so you can get like Access Tunnel. And the way I'm making this deck, I kind of want to do things like Reliquary Tower, just because your hand size is going to be so large, you want to be able to keep all your cards. And then finally, because of Kami's ability to connive on some things, you're going to have counters. So there are other ways to put counters in the upgrade section. I'm going to tell you about that in the creature section. So a thing like Karn's Bastion would be a great option to add as well. Moving on to the Rams section, we have a small problem here in that we're not in green, so the options are limited. But for the mana rocks, you're going to look at things like Thought Vessel and even the new decanter that was just put out, where they don't limit your hand size. You have no maximum hand size, so good option there for this style of deck. Chromatic Lantern, because you're in a 3-color deck, you're going to need access to all 3 colors. And Liquid Metal Torque puts some work in on this one, just because you're in white and you have disenchant style effects, and that's what Liquid Metal Torque can take. I always suggest that in my red decks. Some enchantments that you can look at, since white has some ways to ramp. Not the best, they're not really great, but they work. I mean, Smothering Tithe is worth some money for a reason. You've got Monologue Tax, that could work as well. And then you even have access to Black Market, which can be great in a deck that has some board wipes. Now, as far as creatures go, we're going to go simple here. I'm looking at creatures that are unblockable and allow you to draw cards. They included, I think, 1 or 2 in the actual precon, but look at things like Luzun. Good option there. Every time it deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card and it's unblockable, or can become unblockable in this deck. Dimir Cutpurse is another option as well. And then Herald of the Secret Streams is a great option here, because I'm also going to add in the addition of a Necropolis Regent to add +1/+1 counters, which is what I was talking about earlier. Then you've got Esper Sentinel for card draw. Quasar is a great fit in this deck. I did my own precon for this. If you haven't seen it, you should go take a look at that deck. But Quasar here fits very well. It has a theme where you can draw a lot of cards with it, and she'll do a lot of damage in different ways. And then, of course, Psychosis Crawler. I like to add this in a lot of decks just because I like to do card draw, and in Commander, card draw actually is really good. So those are the options as well as some creatures that you should add. Next, let's take a look at some of the spell upgrades you can do. I had mentioned in Quasar, and I'll mention here, that these 3 colors are some of the best as far as options for removal and tutoring and card draw, so you might as well take advantage. So with removal, you got things like Void Rend. It's one of the newer ones from Streets of New Capenna, and Path to Exile. They gave us Swords to Plowshare in the precon, so add some more. 1 drop or 1 to cast removal, so Path to Exile. And of course, we got Wrath effects, so good old Wrath of God, Damnation, all those good cards that white has, and it included a couple in the precon as well. You can also add Merciless Eviction, because sometimes exiling is more important than destroying, just because there are some things that are indestructible. After that, we're going to look at counter magic, because we're in blue, so things like Dovin's Veto and Fierce Guardianship. And I say Fierce Guardianship because we're a 3-color deck, and the other free counter magic requires you to have a blue card, and you may not have one because of the amount of colors in the deck. I mentioned tutors, so you got Demonic Tutor, Vampiric Tutor. There's a whole bunch of them now. You can take a look at that. As far as utility, you can look at things like Teferi's Protection, always a good one. And then for card draw, for mass card draw, a card like Finale of Revelation, and the reason why that one, because it allows you to make it so your maximum hand size you don't have for the rest of the game. And you don't have to worry about ever losing it, because it can't be taken away once it resolves. So, some great options there. On the enchantment side, we're going to continue that trend of no maximum hand size. So, something like Wizard Class. And then to fill the hand up so the no maximum hand size actually becomes relevant, you got things like Coastal Piracy, because you're using unblockables, and same thing with Recon Mission. More card draw would be things like Rhystic Study and Mystic Remora, maybe a Necropotence, because life might not matter so much. You've got Prison Enchants, like Imprisoned in the Moon and Darksteel Mutation. We have 2 really good colors for Prison Enchants, so you can lock down people's commanders. We've got Rogue Class. That's an interesting new addition that you can add to. I haven't mentioned that one before because it actually hasn't fit in many decks, but it really fits this one well. And then, of course, unfortunately, they created something in one of the recent Commander sets. I believe it was Commander Legends, or it was one of the, I don't know which one it was, but Black Market Connections is almost an auto-include in any upgrade section for Black. It just does everything relevant that you need, so really good option for any Black deck. As far as artifact upgrades, there weren't too many, so we're going to focus on a couple here. First things first, you've got like Biden of Thassa. It's akin to the Coastal Piracy and Recon mission, where it lets you draw cards when your creatures deal combat damage. You've got a win con, or at least a player loses the game con with Vorpal Sword, and as far as equipment go, that's probably where you're going to get most of your stuff from. So you can add a Scythe Claw in here. They have Quilled Spike in the precon, so you might as well double up and get some redundancy there. And then Sword of the Animist, because you're dealing unblockables, you're going to deal combat damage, you're going to be attacking anyway, so you may as well get a little bit more ramp out of your guys, and that's how you're going to do it with Sword of the Animist. Now, as far as the walkers go, I'm actually going to give you 3 of the newer ones, and I say newer within the last 2 years. We're going to start off with Kaido Shizuki. Really good for this deck. I mean, really good. Teferi Temporal Pilgrim, the new one from the last set. At least when this is released, it's the last set. That's a good one. I like it a lot, and I'm going to start suggesting that in a lot of decks because it fits a lot of themes, especially with card draw. And then, of course, you've got a win con one where you're drawing all your cards, you may draw your deck out, so why not throw a Jace Wielder of Mysteries in? So, all great options. And, of course, lastly, I'm going to go over some win cons or combos that you can use in this deck. I have a heavy treasure token theme going in the upgrade section, so you might as well throw a Revel and Riches in there. And, of course, the deck lends itself, the way that I built it, to a lot of card draw, so you may even be able to sneak a win in with Trisket Deck of File as well. So, 2 very solid options for this deck. And that's what I've got for you today on the Obscura Operation Precon Upgrade Guide. If you have any comments, questions, or concerns, or just want to talk about the deck or any of the other decks and videos that I create, you can go ahead and contact me at bluebearsgames.online on Facebook. You can email me at bluebearsgames@gmail.com, and I'll get back to you when I have an opportunity. Or you can leave a comment in the section below, and I'll get back to you in that way. And then if you want to talk further after that, you can go ahead and contact me one of the other 2 ways. On top of that, if you're looking to help support the channel, there are a couple ways you can do so. The first way is actually just out of generosity. You can go ahead and do some donations to me. And the way you can do that is through PayPal at paypal.me/BlueBearsGames, at Venmo at BlueBearsGames, or through Cash App at $BlueBearsGames. The second way that you could help support the channel, this one actually gets you something for your money. You can go ahead and take a look at all the decks that I've made, and you can make a purchase of 1 or 2, or maybe even 5. I have 60-card decks available for sale, and I also have Commander decks available for sale. So if you're looking at them, you can go ahead and take a look at any of my stuff on the Facebook page or through the Facebook Marketplace. They're all available there. You can see the logo that you need to look for, and all those are available for purchase. You can contact me at any time, and we'll go ahead and talk about how you can acquire one of those. And the last option is the freest of the 3 options. You can do me the favor of subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. That way, when I get to my 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, somebody else will be paying for the bill. You can also like the video. Apparently, the analytics show that the more people who like your video, the more viewed it gets. So that would help me as well. Or you can share it out on your social medias, whatever one you have, and other people will eventually start subscribing and watching more videos. So all 3 options are great and will help support the channel. That is my time for the week. I want to thank you for watching. Please join me again next week for another deck build video, and I will see you all then. Have a good week.